Okay, so let's get started with keeping on with this capture group information here. So I'm going to keep adding, the relevant push pop peek methods for this guy. And this is going to be capture info peek, and it will take a group ID and map that to capture stack of group ID dot peek. In case I want to see who's at the end. And same thing for pop. Okay, so this is going to let me get at those guys. So let's see, what else? I'm going to need some helper methods here because there's certain things that I need to be able to do before even accessing this thing. And gosh, I don't know how to phrase it. Let's just get started here. So one of the things I need to be able to tell is if a capture group has information in it. So let's go ahead and say internal bool capture group has data. Yeah, why not? Int group ID. And gosh, I guess I can even get simple here. This is going to be true if capture stack dot contains key group ID and capture stack of group ID dot count. It's greater than 0. Okay, so if this has been pushed into at least once, we have an object, and if that guy gives us something, if he actually has something in it, then that capture group has data. What else are we going to need? We're going to need internal string, let's see, capture value that will take int group ID. And this is going to be an actual function here. So if not, let's see, capture group has data of the group ID, then return null. That ought to get their attention. Otherwise, let's go ahead and say var ci equals capture stack of group ID dot peek. That'll grab us a copy of it. And recall that we have begin, end, and group ID. So then we can just return match string dot substring from ci dot beg ci dot length, which is computed, right? And that's that. This is a problem. Okay, so that gives us capture value. So in fact, let me rename this to capture group has value, something like that. And I'm actually going to provide an override internal string capture value of capture info ci. And this guy, actually, I'm going to do this. This is the simple one. And capture value is going to return capture value of peek All right, I think that ought to do it. That way we can just say, oh, if I have a capture group, I can just go grab it that way. And similarly, I will say internal bool capture group has value capture info CI will map to capture group has value of CI dot group ID. All right, so that ought to do that. All right, so that's going to let us get values out. So we should run back here to our, I guess IMatch test. That's what I really need. And let's go down. I forget if we've done anything. Match greedy, match lazy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's add one. Public static void capture group test1 var context equals new context of the string I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Char a lot of the same setup as before. Is a new character a. And let's see. Actually, I'm just going to flat out take this because I want those. And then I'm going to say var token equals capture group. Sorry, new capture. What am I missing? Oh, group. That's what I called it. New group of, and the match item is going to be this alternate, and group ID will be 0. So this would be like the entire regular expression here. Exec test on the token in this context. Okay, so let's take this and flip back to our program and try and run it and see what we see. Okay. We don't have match next done. I guess that's fine. So what did we get so far? We matched, we consumed 2 characters. I guess I'm a little surprised by that. But maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe I already forgot where I left off last time. This is what happens when you walk away for like a day or a couple days and then it's gone. You just forget it all. Oh yeah, I forgot that we had swapped those. List of 2A. So I was imagining this group. This is probably what I should always do. A or AA. And here these genuinely are captured. Okay, so match next is going to fail, but whatever, that's fine. Yeah, screw it, I'll just leave it. Okay, so let's run it again. And we see it crashed, and it consumed 1, and our stack is 0, and great. Okay, so let's stop this. Context push, blah, blah, blah. And so our context toString. It'd be nice if when I print out the context, I could get some info about the capture groups. So why don't I do this? So for each, for each int group ID in capture stack.keys, which capture stack will always be an object. Then, well, I can say something like this. So let's say str.append line, and excuse me. So we have 1, 2. So our stack will be there, and we will say capture. I'll just say this group group ID. And it's going to map to, gosh, how should I say it? All right, capture stack. Oh no, what am I doing? Peak. group ID, and 2 peak, gosh, excuse me, group ID dot, I guess that's the piece that I missed, dot beg dot end. I'm trying to do this from memory. Okay, so this will print out from 2, and I want this to be width 2. Oh no, that won't ever happen, because that'll be no problem. And I'll say value, and this will be oops, get capture value. I keep renaming things before that I didn't in my first version, and I always forget. Okay, so this should hopefully give me some more info about the group. So let's rerun this, and it crashes. And okay, group 0 to 1, value AA. Well, that's clearly not correct. So what's the problem? Substring capture info length is not correct. Length, let me think. Beginning to end, they're the same. No, I do want that. I'm just going to rewrite, because that is the length of the match string. I'm just going to be smarter about this and say, oh, sorry, capture value. I need to go to the definition of that. And capture value of this. And I'll do ci.end minus ci.beg. That'll be fine. Okay, let's try that again. And it crashes. All right. We have a value. Okay, so what else can we do here? Okay, I think it's about time that we start dealing with this match next business. In fact, I'm going to go up here and steal this greedy token from here. Come down here. Var cap equals new capture. Gosh, I always do that. Group. And I want to capture the alternate, and this is going to be group 1. And I'm going to have a greedy repetition of the capture. So this is this situation 2 or 3 times. And then I guess this goes down here. Like that. Oops. Wrong command. And match next isn't done. All right. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to see that this capture group is actually capturing different information every time. In order to deal with that, I guess we better implement match next. So what does it mean for the capture group to have to match again? Geez, excuse me. So, okay. We've been backtracked into, which means if nothing else, I guess I need to pop some information off here. So var ci equals context.pop group ID, my group ID. And then we will say bool result equals match item dot match next on the context. And once again, if result. So if we actually succeeded there, then we're going to return success eventually because we're going to return result. But we need to push this info back on. And so what do I want to push on? I want to push ci dot beg and context dot current offset dot offset is what I called it, and group ID. Okay, so I'll push it back on if we matched, and we'll return the result. Okay, so let's see what this guy does. Oh, gonna have to deal with that. All right. So I'm matching, let me remind myself what we're matching here. So A or AA 2 to 3 times. So I can do it, and it's greedy, right? So I can do it up to 3 times, matching the first option and the alternates, and one of them is optional. Group 1 contains the value A, and it is the indexes 2 to 3, right? 0, 1, 2 to 3, length 1. When we issue a match next, it backtracks into our greedy, right, capture, which backtracks into our capture group, which is going to pop the most recent group info off the stack, and then try match next on this token that it's grouping, which does in fact match an alternative, right? You can see here this matches the second option, which is AA, and then we return success, and I pushed back onto the stack the current group information, which is 2 to 4 AA. Okay, so then now for match next failed, what is going to happen here? Okay, so then I guess I think the problem here is that my context isn't very smart. Man, this video is long already. My bad. So for group ID in there, so if capture group has value of group ID, then we'll do that. Otherwise, I think we should just not, and there's your problem. Okay, so stack's cleared, groups have been cleared, and we're good to go. Okay, so that was long, but in the next video, we will add some info here to kind of see historically what this capture group has matched, and that will be, I don't know, just sort of nice to see. Okay, later.